Hello and welcome to the EduTalk series hosted by Biotone EduPartner School Program, and massage industry experts. With the continued interest and popularity of the EduTalk series, Biotone continues to support virtual learning and building massage community by connecting you with industry experts who share their knowledge and expertise on topics not only for class discussion, but career success. Today's expert is Sandy Fritz, a practicing massage therapist with over 45 years in the massage industry. She's founder, owner, and educator of Health Enrichment Center Massage School in Lapeer, Michigan. She's author of numerous textbooks, including Fundamentals of Therapeutic Massage and Massage Therapy Review. Additionally, Sandy is owner of a wellness center, giving her a unique perspective on success, career success, being a good employee, personal safety, gaining new skills, as well as working independently as a practice owner. Let's listen and learn as Sandy shares how to be both efficient and effective for career success. Massage involves applying mechanical force to soft tissues to achieve therapeutic benefits. A massage therapist's success relies on meeting client goals while avoiding self-injury. Efficiency is key to minimizing fatigue and unnecessary effort. Sandy will reveal practical strategies to make your work easier without compromising effectiveness. Again, please have video off and sound muted. Feel free to chat questions or comments to Sandy, which she will answer at the end of her talk. And with that, thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you, Sandy, for hosting a very good topic.
All
And
right.
I know we have a lot to get to, so I will exit the screen, turn it over to you, and come back when it's time for chats. All right.
Sounds great. And
Thank you again.
I'm so tickled to be here with you and Biotone. I was involved in this since the beginning. It started with COVID. So it's just whatever I'm asked, I want to help participate with this. And the library, the EduTalk library has just got a wealth of information. So what I hope to do tonight is highlight some areas that in all my years and of practicing massage and teaching students that I think if we look at them and you start to self-evaluate a little bit, you might find out that you're working too hard and that you can probably get as much or more done by being a little bit more efficient. So I'm going to share my screen here and share sound. And I'm going to have to put some strange glasses on so I can see. Uh, there we go. All right. So this is what we're doing. And again, I just want to thank Biotone for continuing to support this program. I think it is so helpful. So Donnell mentioned that I have written books, and so here we are. This was the very first edition of Fundamentals of Therapeutic Massage, and that's been 30 years since that was all published. So been around, done that for sure. And there is my son Luke, who now writes with me and also teaches with me at the school. I think it's always good for you to know who you're listening to, and I always encourage people to not take everything at face value. You want to make sure that you know where your information comes from and that you question things and that you are in a position where you know how to do your own research as well. So that all being said, just a little bit of an overview of massage. And there's been a lot of research now looking at what are the outcomes of massage, what are the mechanisms of that, how do we know what methods to choose, and that fits right in with what what continuing education that you choose. And when you choose to pay for continuing education, that's a big investment. So you want to make sure that you're investing in something that is going to add both effectiveness and efficiency to your massage therapy practice. Now, I'm a massage therapist. I have been a massage therapist for more than 45 years. I still see clients, certainly not as many as I did when I was working full time, but I still see clients. I still teach at entry level. And so my focus is massage therapy, and the broad spectrum of what that is. When you boil it all down, massage involves applying a mechanical force to the body's soft tissues to achieve therapeutic results. I don't care what you call it. That's what you do, and you can call it a lot of different things. Um, a massage therapist's success relies on meeting client goals, but not getting injured, not hurting yourself. Efficiency is the key to minimizing fatigue and unnecessary effort. I have, up until a few years ago, always worked full-time with clients and along with other obligations. And that was 20 to 25, sometimes 30 hours of massage per week, with oftentimes, especially in the last 25 years, professional athletes. And so if I hadn't figured out how to be efficient, I wouldn't have been able to maintain that stamina. And as I troll Facebook or stroll through Facebook and other social platforms, it breaks my little heart to see how many people struggle with, I can't see enough people, my back hurts, if I see more than 3 people a day, and I'm like, I'm not able to make enough money. And so I hope that whoever watches this, either now or when they look at the video in the library, that they'll find at least one thing that will help them be able to be more effective without, unduly fatiguing themselves or hurting themselves. Okay, so some points on all of this, and this is basically from a really new study, the mechanisms of manual therapy, that I've got the citation down here. I haven't made up a thing. I haven't invented anything. Massage therapy, the application of soft tissue, has been around forever. I don't have a special name for what I do. And so I'm all about sharing workable information. So this study, I think, is really helpful. It says therapeutic outcomes in manual therapy. Massage is a manual therapy. Manual therapy is the big umbrella. Massage is one of the types. Physical therapy is a manual therapy. Osteopathy is a manual therapy. Chiropractic is a manual therapy. So we're one of the approaches in manual therapy. So these outcomes are rarely attributed to a single intervention or technique. It sort of kind of all works, as long as you don't hurt somebody. Ketter and his associates synthesize all this information in a high quality approach to research, which is a systematic narrative scoping review, where they looked at all kinds of studies. And their findings show that manual therapy appears to influence multiple physiological functions, ranging from neurological and neurovascular to neuroimmune and neuroendocrine. And in addition to that, the context of the therapeutic relationship, the sense of safety and trust and all of that, is probably as or more important than the physiological effect of what we do. Effects are systemic rather than modality specific. So if one style is difficult for you to do, if you know the outcome you're after, you can probably find another way to achieve that outcome. And this suggests that therapeutic influence of manual therapy may be broadly applicable and not limited to any kind of named modalities or proprietary approaches. So when you are learning from people, you want to watch their critical thinking. You want to watch their ways that they have become efficient. You want to see how you would adapt to something like that, because chances are you don't have the same body type that the presenter has. And so you're going to have to figure out how to accomplish the same thing using your body. So the outcomes then, when we start thinking about a bigger picture, we're looking at mechanotransduction. That's kind of through the connective tissue network, generally, how we perceive ourselves from the inside out, the contextual variables, which I mentioned, which is the ambiance of your area, the way you speak, the way you look, all those kinds of things. The dosage, which we don't have good studies out, but that means how many times do I see you in a week or in a month, and how long. So that goes in with the frequency, and then the therapist's intentional approach rather than a rigid protocol. So, I just want to lay the groundwork here. So when you look at research, what has emerged over many years now is that as far as evidence-informed outcomes have developed, our most researched is relaxation and well-being. And that typically is a general, non-specific, medium pressure, about 45 minutes to an hour full body massage approach. And in my opinion, and I do love my opinions, in my opinions, that's the foundation of all of our sessions when we're looking at massage therapy. And that approach becomes our assessment if there are other outcomes that are looking to be achieved. So I can check range of motion, tissue texture, and all that stuff while I am doing this full body approach. Stress management is the next that is supported by evidence. And the approach that's used with stress management is still primarily that full body relaxation outcome, downregulation of the sympathetic autonomic nervous system, influence of neurotransmitters, a sense of safety, trust, all of that. And so, I mean, there are other focuses. You can focus on breathing, normalization, and so forth. Pain management can be local or systemic. You're looking at acute pain versus generalized or chronic pain. Um, our best influence is chronic pain. Some of it has become generalized, sensitized. And again, we go back and look at this full body approach for that. And the reason why I want to bring this into focus is that when we look at the ergonomics and the biomechanics of all of this, I hope what you'll identify is that it's the general full body massage that is the foundation for everything. And then our functional mobility is actually the least researched in terms of efficacy. Um, there is a lot of looking again at the idea of the importance of posture, whether or not we we all have to have the same range of motion. And one of the things I think we all need to start paying attention to is hypermobility, uh, joint instability, and that many of the things that we sort of had learned back in the day, I've been around in the back of the day, maybe we need to take a look at whether or not that is what really should happen for a client. When we have our outcome in play or our combination here, then we take a look at how am I going to approach this? And this usually depends on how the client is on a particular day. If they're not, if they're an athlete and they are coming off of a major competition or practice, maybe the next day we wouldn't want to get into some of the more focal approaches. So that's where, again, the well-being and the palliative approach, again, is our foundation. We would hope that clients would come and see us in a restorative capacity. This would be regular sessions with the intention of sustaining function and helping people have the quality of life that they can achieve. And sustain and maintain. There is not necessarily any pathology here that needs to be fixed, which we can't really do. Anyway, I see this as the very important part of same as car maintenance or somebody, keeping your house decluttered and cleaned up, your living space, and taking care of issues before they come and become an issue. Condition management occurs when there's now an issue, and the person has got to figure out how to cope with that. Usually means identification and support for a new normal. And we're really good at that. Massage is really good at that. And then the last one is therapeutic change. This is the one that's fancy dandy, where you go learn a method or you go do something, you're gonna change a person's life and their shoulder's gonna move, this way and that way, and it's a fix it, and then you can pat yourself on the back and you can tell great stories about all the big things that you did with this client. And bless our hearts, that hardly ever happens. And if it does happen, the next question, right after a session, the next question is, does it last? So, and probably not. So, because massage is really a maintenance system as opposed to a curative system. So you're starting to get my frame of reference here on where I work. Massage needs to be done regularly for it to have its best effect. That means that you need to use your body in a regular way so that you can support your retention client base. The only two things we can do is push or pull. I don't care what you want to call it. We push or pull. We can push or pull at the same time. We can, we can move things by pushing or move things by pulling, but that's the way we generate a mechanical force. So we better know how to do that, push and pull efficiently. That's the crux of what we're after, to generate that mechanical force. And we do that with these various uh, um, adaptations on the push and pull. So we can hold, put our hand on somebody, a light push or a deeper push, and we can do that a long time without any movement, or we can move up and down with it, or we can slide it, or we can twist it, or we can go back and forth really fast. We can take the ends apart, we can shake it and rock it, we can whack on it, and we can move it around. Um, I am not, I think it's important for us to use the most generic terminology we can on this. This supports researchers, and that we be cautious about putting method-specific terminology. The one that is been around forever and is a unique approach and style in of itself is the Swedish classical approach. And in that approach, gliding might have the term effleurage attached to it. Regardless, if we're pressing or holding or gliding or shaking something or whatever, we can modify that. So there are 12 modifying methods for anything, any push or pull. We can modify. We can change the pressure, which it goes right along with the point of application. Broad-based versus narrow-based, the intensity of it, how much effort is being put into it and how is the person experiencing that, the direction, the drag, how much we pull the tissue, how fast or how slow, what is our pacing like? Do we sequentially go through an area or do we jump around a little bit? What is the rhythm? Is it rhythmic or dysrhythmic? Uh, those are processed through the nervous system differently. Our sequencing and transitioning, what is our way that we move around the body? How frequent, how many times do we do a method? How long do we do it? And then very important, our intention for the outcome. So between these 9 primary ways of pushing and pulling and these 12 methods to adapt, I mean, there's an infinite way that we can address soft tissue manipulation, i.e. massage. What we're trying to do is create a stressor in the body that the physiology has to adapt to. So we're talking primarily to the nervous system, but also there can be distortion back to the mechanical transduction. We can, on a more mechanical level, influence how signals are processed. So this isn't the stress that makes us not be able to sleep. These are physics type terms. So a compression stress is where things are pushed together. A tension stress is where things are pulled apart. A shear stress is where things go back and forth. A torsion stress is where things are twisted, and a bending stress is where one side gets long and the other side gets short. And then that somehow those stresses are what signal receptor mechanisms to start to signal the body that it's got to adapt. Okay, so all of that being said, as a framework, what I want to show you is some stuff actually that my son did, Luke, that really sets you up so that you can perfect efficiently and effectively that full body general approach without hurting yourself so that you can modify it in this infinite number of ways. So I'm going to fiddle around here and get a YouTube up. And these are from my school's YouTube channel. I'll have a link for you at the end. Everything Luke and I put up there is free. It's not behind a paywall. There's a ton of stuff that supports the textbooks, and just, please use it and take what you can from it and laugh at our mistakes and, just have a good time with it. All right, let's see what happens when I try to do this here. Okay. I am hoping that you all are seeing. Let's do this. I need a thumbs up from somebody.
I see you, Sandy. I don't
Okay, do
see
you
the
see
video.
this now? Do you see it says Massage for Dummies?
Yes.
Oh, right. It's a
All
skeleton
right.
hold. It's a skeleton holding a brain. All right, so these are little shorts, and let's see what we can see on this, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. So here's the first one. Oops,
Life is
I've
beautiful
gotten so
and fragile.
fancy and special that I've got advertising on me. I turned the music off. So just watch and compare this to what you're doing.
And now we can't hear it.
No, I know there's
Oh.
there wasn't any voice on it
Sorry about that.
because it's
Thank you.
weird music.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, now, whether you put it in the chat or not, why don't you do a little bit of self-evaluation on that? And I'll play it again here real quick for you. Oops, I got to get to a different one here. Okay, here's the one you just saw. I'm going to let it just play. I want you to jot down in the chat if you can see something that is different than what you were taught or different than what you do. Donnell, can they see that?
Yes.
Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the next one that talks about the ergonomics, the table height and that sort of thing. Same thing, do a little bit of a self-evaluation, uh, write some questions down. I'm going to ask again, Donnell, if you're seeing, it says ergonomics for massage dummies. Is that what?
Yes.
Good job. Okay, I'm going to make this full screen. And again, I'm not playing the music because it's annoying. And then the last one, it focuses on forearms. So this is something that I think really is important that people are comfortable doing. So here we go. So we've got our forearms first. One of the things I'm going to show you or tell you is if you're going to really be efficient using your forearm, you've got to raise your table up. Otherwise, you're bending over too much. And boy, every time I say that, people want to throw tomatoes at me. Um, but it's always lower your table, you can get more pressure, all that kind of stuff. But you really want to be standing up more. You don't want your feet all spread out. That changes your base of support. This bolster This square bolster is a lifesaver. The round bolsters, people roll on them and they're not confident that they're going to stay still and all that kind of stuff. What we do at the school is we order right off of Amazon, firm 6-inch twin mattress foam, and then we cut it. You are more efficient in especially the legs and the limbs, or the legs and the limbs, the legs and the arms if you learn to work sideline. I think I might have froze up here. Ta-da. All right. I'm going to put my PowerPoint up for just a minute more, and then I want to open this up to discussion. Okay, Donnell, again, do you see, looks like some of those mannequins with red lines on them?
Yes.
Okay. So along with this efficiency and effectiveness, I would suggest that you stop thinking in terms of muscles and start thinking about patterns of movement. Both what is actually causing the movement and what is stabilizing. Now, this is not the same as the myofascial lines and all of this, but these lines here, what we teach is massage on the line and across the line, with the grain, across the grain. Positions so that you're leaning on a slope instead of going downhill. Make sure that your strokes are short, not long. So if I'm massaging the leg here, I'm thinking of this compartment. I'm thinking of that compartment rather than, oh, I got to work on the gastrocnemius, I got to work on the soleus, all that kind of stuff. Our body just doesn't work that way. And then here's an example of what it would look like supine. Oops. I'm button happy here. Okay. I want to open this up to discussion, whether we do it through the chat or whatever. I'm going to give you my biggies that I work with the students, that they learn to use their forearms. They choose to use their forearms first when they're trying to achieve a goal. That they get one of those big square bolsters and learn to work sideline, including being confident with the draping. That they have a clear intention of what they're doing. And that you raise your easy positions that I see people in. I just got a note that my internet was a little unstable. Are you still seeing me, Donnell?
We
Okay.
are now, but we missed what you were saying.
All right, so what I was saying is that if you look weird while you're doing massage, then you're not being efficient. If you're all spread out and your arms are all stretched and your knees are all bent and you look like you're riding a horse and you're up on your toes and you're working with your fingers and your thumbs, you're not being efficient. And so you can change those things. Those are all things that you can change. And that's where you get your career longevity and where you find yourself able to do more massage, which means you make more money. So we can open this wide open to questions now, Donnell, that I would like to hear people's feedback on, what they're gonna, one thing you're gonna choose, and you can go look at those videos as much as you want. So, what do we got?
Well, I haven't seen many chats come in. Meryl said she was trying to do it along with the video so she could see and feel it in herself.
So that's one of the reasons why I wanted you to know. We only got like 45 minutes here, half hour or so. I wanted to give you resources where you can go to that, and Donnell have the link to the YouTube channel and those things on there. You're going to get that, and you can look at that and look at that and look at that. And there are lots of other demo videos that you can look at. And you can slow them down, you can speed them up, you can hear the narration, and you can really identify where you are going to be able to make some adjustments so that you don't hurt yourself. Uh, I could get better feedback if people unmuted and put their screens back on for questions. I'm open to that as well. What else have we got?
Well, I haven't seen any other chats come in, but Trisha was saying she's glad there was a recording. She had to go. And for many of you who haven't attended an Edu Talk previously, tomorrow you will receive a follow-up email, which should arrive by midday. And if you don't see it, please check your junk or spam or reach out to me and I'll resend it. The follow-up email will include a copy of Sandy's recording tonight. It will include a copy of her PowerPoint. It will have links to the videos, her YouTube channel, and also included will be links to Sandy's past Edu Talks and their topics. So please keep an eye out for that. It says that the video is turned off. Let me just see what we can do here.
It looks like it's turned on at my end.
Okay. This
So
is intriguing and so much knowledge shared.
yeah, do you characters have access to hands up or thumbs up? Can you do that? How many of you identified at least one thing that you could work with that's different than what you're doing now that is likely to help you out? Do we get it? There's one. Do we have any? All right, we got one going. Do we have another one going?
That's cute. I'm a neophyte on Zoom most of the time, and I don't really know where all the little thumbs up things are. Thank you, Sandy. Very good stuff.
I got it.
Really like the idea of making your own square bolsters,
Yes.
longevity.
Yes.
And
So-
then is it Ilya? Added a link for YouTube.
Yeah, if you
So
feel like you're working hard, you're working too hard.
Juliana is saying, when we talk about shorter strokes, is there a reason for this specifically, or when it applies to body mechanics?
Yes, there is. And the Massage Therapy Foundation did a pilot study on this with an ergonomics specialist. And one of the things they really pointed out was the excursions. And they said that um, avoid working at the ends of the tables. So one of the things people really like to do with massage, they stand at the head of the table and they put their hands on their shoulders and then they stroke all the way down to the back. And then they're all bent over. And then in order for them to stand up, for you to stand up, you got to use all your back muscles. Your excursion shouldn't be more than a foot. You need to move. You need to move. So we're going to have a mindset change on some of our ideas of what a massage is supposed to look like. Because some of those things that we were taught and that we are doing are hurting us. And that's one of them. Those big, long, flowing strokes. You can still have a sequence and a flow and a continuity without hurting yourself. That was a good question. Any others now starting to crop up?
No.
Okay.
I see Meryl's jumping in. Or Meryl just popped up on the screen.
You don't see me?
Oh, no, we don't see you. So I'm sorry about
Do,
that.
do you have a question? I can hear you.
Oh, I just wanted to say you're giving a really nice ending to a really crappy day.
Oh, bless your heart. Did you work too hard and weren't efficient?
No, I didn't work enough. I love working, but I just have so much crap going on, and this just helps so much. Thank you,
Oh,
thank you, thank you. I've heard of your name forever, and now I know who you are. I didn't even know it was a woman. So,
What I'm really about is helping people be successful
thank you.
and doing it in a way that is realistic and that has good science behind it and is not gimmicky and that is easy to incorporate. And that's what I'd like to have for all of you. And that's why I'm openly encouraging you to take advantage of our YouTube channel. You don't have to agree with all of it, and you certainly should laugh at some of it.
Sandy, I have a question. With the IT band, I have never had a bolster put under my thigh during a massage for that.
Yeah.
Does that affect the therapists and their posture? And are they working harder at that point?
Yeah, you need to have the
how do I
body.
think about that?
Yeah, you need to have the body stable. When you put it on the side, you need the client's body stable. And that's why you don't want a round bolster. And you want it high enough so that their leg isn't coming over onto the table, which is going to set them up to roll. And so that bolster makes such a huge difference. Also, having a bolster under the client's abdomen for almost all people, if they're laying flat on the table, their back, especially the lumbar region, is in hyperextension, and it doesn't like that. And so if you put that a pillow or a support under their abdomens, between their belly button and their pubic bone, flatten out that low back, that is going to make them a lot more comfortable. And try to not keep them on their stomach for very long. That's not the most efficient way to work anyway. And it's, I think you can all relate to the client trying to get up or roll over after they've been on their stomach too long and they're all kind of stiff and all of that. So you really need to learn to be efficient sidelining if you want to maximize stuff. It just is. Sometimes it just is, and that's one of the things that is.
So I have another question now. No pillow under the abdomen, but a bolster under the ankles, let's say.
Yeah,
You're lying
yeah.
on your stomach. Does that take stress off the lower back or?
No. It takes a little stress off of the knees, But we used to think it takes stress off of the low back. Now, what it does do is shorten the hand, passively soften the hamstrings. Um, so there's a different shift or pull or tug at that point. But it's the way that the body starts to sag or sink when it's laying supine or prone when it's on its stomach. That is the hyperextension of the lumbar spine. All you have to do is put a pillow or a folded towel up there, under there, so that that is flattened out in there, and you will find that it's a little easier to work in that area too
When it's supported.
when it's supported.
Got it. All right, I haven't seen any other chats come in, Sandy. Do you have anything in closing?
I do have a couple that, you know, as we progress through our career, and I'm talking to myself here too, we have to be open to unlearning as much as we are learning. And we need to allow ourselves to feel a little uncomfortable while we're making changes. I see a little note down here. Any thoughts on pregnancy massage? Yeah, like do it. It's good. Learn to work sideline. And sideline is not an option. It should not be an option. It should be as important or as taught as prone and supine. So it's the positioning. If it's a normal pregnancy and there isn't any areas that you need to be concerned about or whatever, pregnant women would appreciate, or pregnant people would appreciate a massage. There's a lot of myths around that. So don't, if it sounds silly, it probably is. So be open to challenging yourself and challenging what you have learned. You can challenge what you've learned without disrespecting the person you learned it from. I've changed what I've done over the years a lot. And so, I'm much better at it now than I was when I started, and that's what I hope for you. And I want you to be successful. And I think sometimes that's not always, we don't always, we sacrifice ourselves in order to try to do something that could be done in an easier way. So.
And with that said, are you speaking of body mechanics?
Body mechanics, how ergonomics, which is how we set up our room, how we work too specific when we could get the job done more general, when we use our fingers and thumbs, which you shouldn't do very much of, when we could use a forearm, you know, just stuff that, was kind of melded into our legacy that, like that long stroke along the back. We've never had a formal ergonomics assessment of what we do. And so it's all gotten mishmashed up with, well, I do it like this, and then I do it like that, and then I'm going to teach whoever I'm teaching, I'm going to teach them to do it like that, and then you're going to try to do that, and then your body type isn't like that. What about using instruments? Some of them actually are harder on you than not using it. So if you've got to grip it, if you've got to hold on to it, you got to watch how you're contracting around your elbow, and are you stabilizing yourself? I think now decompression or suction, lifting with cups, is easier and more effective than the old myofascial type approaches with the long drag and the cross-handed stuff and the big lifting and kneading. And I learned it the other way, but I wouldn't do it that way anymore. I would use some sort of a a suction device, a lifting device to do that. You have to be careful with the percussion guns because the vibration is hard on you. On you. That's one of the things ergonomists try to get out of any kind of equipment is vibration. And it's heavy, and you hold it at the end of your arm, so it may not be helping you. Some of the thumb support things and stuff like that actually are putting the joints in an area or in a position that is actually going to cause pain or harm. So you got to be really careful with that. I'm not opposed to tools, but they got to actually, so I tell my students again, is it relatively inexpensive? And is it going to make your job easier? That's the two things you look at. And so, and none of the tools, there's no magic in there. They still push or pull. That's all they can do. So, and it's the suction ones that pull really good, but they only work on the superficial fascia. They're not getting down deep into the muscles.
What is the reasoning behind not using your thumbs that often? I find it more effective and pleasing to my body instead of the forearm for back work. Granted, I am new in this world, but I do have good hand strength. No
Yeah,
tool.
yeah. Well, talk to me in 3 years. Your hand, the bones and the joints in the hands are very difficult to stabilize. Therefore, they are you're straining and stressing it with compression forces into the joint. The thumb itself is a saddle joint. You can't stabilize it. And I've been around a long, long time, and I deserve to be able to say, I strongly encourage you to change your opinion about that. And if you were my student, I wouldn't let you do that in the entry-level training.
Well, thank you, Sandy. And
Oh, that motherly advice, right?
I know, I love it. I love it. It's caring. And, passing on your experience over so many years. It is so great that we can see this again replay. And not saying that I do.
Well, don't.
Thumbs. Don't start. Anyway, it's time.
Yes, but I'm very cautious and careful and judicious.
And with that, we come to an end.
We do.
We do. I'm sorry. So tomorrow, again, you'll look for a follow-up email midday. If you don't see it, check spam. It will have a copy of the recording, a copy of the PowerPoint. I've included in the body of the follow-up links to Sandy's previous EduTalks, and there is one on ergonomics and body mechanics. And it will have the link that was in chats earlier that someone posted and Sandy's contact information. So if you have further questions for Sandy, you can reach out and connect with her. Also, to mention our upcoming EduTalks, we have October 14th, next Tuesday, with Kelly Lenny and Pat Benoit, The Flow of Energy, an Integrated Perspective. And the RSVP opens tomorrow. Kelly is a past EduTalk presenter, and I think this will be an excellent talk. On October 21st, we have Irene Diamond presenting Simple Neck Pain Relief through Active Modulation Therapy. And as well, if you don't know and are not familiar with the EduTalk Diabetes series, November 11th, we will have Linda Lockett-Brown presenting on You Can Enjoy This Holiday Season with Diabetes. You can access both the Massage EduTalk Archive Library and the Diabetes EduTalk Archive Library on biotone.com. Under the EduTalk tab, you'll find both series there. and can RSVP for upcoming talks, spend hours and hours in the archive library. And we also have the EduTalk author series where industry authors review their books and textbooks. And many thanks to you, Sandy, and to everyone out there and the work you do. Thank you so much. Join us again. Be safe and take care. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.